The Korean War was fought on land and in the air, but it was sustained at sea. Off the Korean peninsula operated a fleet unlike any other, where ships built for World War II carried the burden of a Cold War conflict. Each class played a distinct role. Each had its own story. Essex-class. The Essex-class was the backbone of U.S. naval aviation. Built for World War II, these fleet carriers delivered relentless air power in Korea, launching fighters and strike aircraft around the clock. Their size, durability, and sortie capacity proved that large carriers would remain the core of naval warfare. Yorktown-class, older and smaller than the Essex-class, the Yorktown-class carriers represented early carrier doctrine. In Korea, they served reliably in strike and support roles, demonstrating the lasting value of pre-war carrier designs. Lexington-class, originally designed as battlecruisers, the Lexington-class symbolized adaptation. By the Korean War, they primarily served in training and support roles, bridging generations of naval aviation. Please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. We want to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Help us to reach this goal. Independence-class, converted from cruiser hulls, these light carriers provided flexible air power. Though limited in capacity, they filled critical operational gaps when fleet carriers were unavailable. Saipan-class, designed after World War II, the Saipan-class represented the transition toward jet-capable carriers. They helped introduce early jet operations at sea. Casablanca-class escort carriers built for quantity over power. In Korea, they handled patrols, training, and logistics support, freeing fleet carriers for combat. Bogue-class, primarily designed for escort and patrol duties, these carriers provided anti-submarine coverage and operational support. Sangamon-class, converted from oilers. The Sangamon-class combined endurance with air operations, supporting extended naval missions. Commencement, Bay-class. The most advanced escort carriers of the war, optimized for support and training operations. Battleships. Iowa-class, fast, heavily armed, and devastating. Iowa-class battleships delivered precise naval gunfire support, striking targets far inland and proving battleships still mattered. South Dakota-class compact, but powerful, these battleships provided reliable shore bombardment and fleet defense. North Carolina-class early fast battleships that balanced speed, armor, and firepower. In Korea, they served primarily as floating artillery. Colorado-class older battleships, armed with massive guns, used to bombard coastal targets with overwhelming force. Tennessee-class heavily modernized World War I battleships, still effective as shore bombardment platforms. Pennsylvania-class veterans of two wars, providing steady gunfire support. Nevada-class symbolic survivors of Pearl Harbor, returning to combat in Korea as heavy fire support ships. New Mexico-class, reliable and accurate gun platforms, supporting amphibious and coastal operations. New York-class, among the oldest battleships still in service, representing the long continuity of naval firepower. Wyoming-class, obsolete by modern standards, but historically significant as part of the transitional fleet. USS Utah, a reminder of the pre-World War II Navy, long past frontline service, but symbolically linked to naval evolution. Cruisers, Alaska-class. Large cruisers, designed to counter enemy surface raiders. In Korea, they served as powerful escorts and bombardment ships. Baltimore-class modern heavy cruisers that balanced firepower and speed, widely used for escort and shore bombardment. Wichita-class A, transitional heavy cruiser, bridging older and newer cruiser designs. New Orleans-class World War II veterans, heavily damaged in earlier wars, but still effective in Korea. Portland-class reliable heavy cruisers, providing gunfire support. Northampton-class early heavy, cruisers adapted to modern roles. Pensacola-class among the first heavy cruisers, still serving decades later. Light cruisers, Cleveland-class, highly versatile and heavily armed for air defense and shore bombardment. Brooklyn-class, known for their high rate of fire and effectiveness in coastal operations. St. Louis-class, modernized light cruisers supporting fleet operations. Atlanta-class, designed primarily for anti-aircraft defense. Juneau-class, an evolution of the Atlanta design focused on fleet protection. Omaha-class, old but still functional light cruisers used in secondary roles. Destroyers, Allen M. Sumner-class, heavily armed destroyers optimized for air defense and bombardment. Fletcher-class, the most successful destroyer class of World War II, still dominant in Korea. Benson-class, earlier destroyers adapted to modern escort duties. Gleaves-class, similar to Benson-class, providing fleet screening and fire support. Sims-class fast destroyers used primarily in escort roles. Gridley-class high-speed destroyers emphasizing torpedo attacks. Summers-class large destroyers with heavy armament. Porter-class destroyer leaders with enhanced command capability. Mahan-class early modern destroyers still useful in limited roles. Farragut-class pioneers of modern U.S. destroyer design. Submarines. Gato-class, World War II, submarines adapted for intelligence and patrol duties. Balo-class, improved versions of the Gato-class, forming the backbone of early Cold War submarine forces. Tambor-class, early fleet submarines with long-range capability. Gar-class, coastal submarines used for patrol. Salmon-class, transitional designs emphasizing endurance. Sargo-class, improved ocean-going submarines. Porpoise-class, early modern submarines that shaped later designs. Narwhal-class, large submarines designed for special missions. USS Argonaut, the largest non-nuclear submarine ever built, used in limited roles. Amphibious and support vessels, LST landing. Ship, tank, essential for amphibious operations. LSM landing. Ship, medium, delivering troops and vehicles. LSD dock landing ship, carrying landing craft. LCI landing craft infantry, direct troop delivery. AGC, amphibious command ships coordinating invasions. LVT, tracked amphibious vehicles bridging ship-to-shore gaps. LCVP, Higgins boats, icons of amphibious warfare. Auxiliaries, Liberty ships, mass-produced cargo vessels sustaining the war effort. Victory ships, faster, improved cargo ships replacing Liberty vessels. Submarine-class fleet oilers, enabling long-range operations. Hospital ship, floating hospitals, saving thousands of lives. Together, these ships formed a fleet in transition, a navy standing at the crossroads of history. Forged in the fire of World War II, they returned to the seas carrying lessons learned, scars earned, and doctrines still evolving. Old steel now served new ideas. Battleships once built to duel at the horizon became floating. Artillery, reshaping coastlines from miles offshore. Aircraft carriers transformed from supporting elements into the undisputed center of naval power. Cruisers, destroyers, and submarines adapted to a world where speed, radar, and coordination mattered as much as armor and guns. The Korean War was not a conflict of innovation alone. It was a proving ground. It tested whether legacy designs could survive in a modern battle space. It forced navies to rethink how sea power supported land wars, air dominance, and global strategy. Here, World War II technology enforced Cold War realities. Piston engines flew beside jets. Conventional gunfire supported nuclear-era deterrence. And ships designed for one war quietly defined the rules of the next. These vessels did more than fight. They shaped doctrines, refined tactics, and laid the foundation for modern naval warfare as we know it today. The Korean War did not just test a fleet. It revealed the future.